Hey there guys, it's METAGAMESGX here, and we're finally going to be checking out some gameplay against Dracotail. So, of course, we are running branded Dracotail this format, and the quote-unquote mirror match is definitely in our favor, and I want to show you guys why. So, this is a reason to run branded Dracotail over the standard one, because you typically win the mirror match. Now, I do think there are several aspects that we have to talk about on why that's the case, and you still have to play carefully because there are very good Dracotail players out there that will, window you, secretary on you, and we're going to talk about how to out those things. I open up Dracotail, Muller, Triple Tactics, Talents, Fusion Dupe, Brandon Red, and then Rahu Dracotail, and then our opponent opens Ash, Perulia, Lucius, Rahu, and then Femina. And of course, we are going to be going second into this. He goes Lucius in to search the Urgula so that he can pair it with the Femina effect now to fuse off, presumably the Urgula plus the Lucius, and then get back the Altharion. And then he can go into the Altharion to then target presumably his Lucius, and then also, no, he's going to get his Femina back to hand, which he could also just use Urgula to recur, but he's going to then set out the Ketu plus the Dracotail Flame, which is their spell negate, which is pretty good against branded. And he's going to go into the Ketu to search out the Pan now, which is the pop. This pops a monster on the board. And now he's going to be able to go into Dracotail, Rahu Dracotail, sending the Perulia plus the Muller. So the Malulu, and then he's going to be able to go into the Dracotail Gulamel. I know these names are the OCG names. I think this game is a bit late, but I still think it's a good gameplay for showing off what the engines do. Gulamel is also just the pop when you activate a Dracotail card or effect. It's basically something if you can respond with a quick effect, you'll be able to chain block it, but yep. And now he's going to be able to go into Malulu to set the other trap, which is the Dracotail Horn. This is a target and attack position monster, and then you can bounce it, and then also just return a card, so it's quite good. Both of these can be used without even having a Dracotail in the card in the graveyard. You just won't get the draw, so it's really nice in that respect. He then goes Urgula effect to get the Lucius back to hand. And now he's going to pass to me without even and then he ends on with Femina with Ash in hand, and then has the Horn Flame plus the Grammel. So this is pretty good, all things considered. And he could even make a Secretarion on me if he wants to. So now with deployment Rahu branded in red and Muller, I mean, I think that a lot of the time you like to start the Dracotail cards when you're board breaking. And then we can use Rahu Dracotail to start breaking the board. But here I also just do have the fusion deployment. I figure because between all these cards, I could go fusion deployment and do a few different things. It also could bait the horn, could also bait the flame really easily. But he ashes it, so that's pretty good. I also, at this point, I'm on 60 card, but I could be on 60 card Dracotail, of course. So like fusion deployment to Cartesian to playing with the Dracotail cards is pretty good, I guess. And so I could understand the Ash when you don't. This is why I like to, at least deployment isn't automatically branded anymore. I mean, since Dracotail can run this card. And I go Rahu Dracotail. And he does chain the flame to negate it and then get a draw. And he's going to return the Rahu to then draw Femina, and then go Talents. I'm going to go Talents to draw 2 because I need cards to play the game, and he's just going to chain the Femina at this point and fuse into the Secretarion Dragon. And that's obviously a really good card against branded because it says your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon dragons or spellcasters they control. And also, it's a great combo piece because it can target one dragon, spellcaster in your graveyard and special summon it and put the other to the bottom. So it's like infinite recursion, basically. And so I draw High Spirit and Aluber, which is basically just what I needed. They're both 2 pushes I can use into this board. And he does go into the Lucius to set a Ketu for more follow-up, but he still has the Horn 2 on top of the Grammel on top of the Femina. And so here I'm just going to go into the High Spirits because I can get the Muller in the graveyard, the Malulu into the graveyard. and he's going to let that through, and I'm going to get into the Titanclad. I love High Spirits for board breaking too, because you can always get the Titanclad into the graveyard, which gets you a guaranteed Fallen of Albaz in the end phase, and that can help you board break if you weren't able to deal with the other cards. So here I'm going to go into the Shrouded Dragon, because I do have the Branded in red in the hand, so I would like to send the Albaz here so I can have an opportunity to dodge the Imperm on a Luber if there is an Imperm, and then also be able to go into Mirror Jade here. I draw the Forbidden Droplet, which is actually just incredible here to out the Secretarion, but we do go into the Aluber to search the Branded Fusion now, since we do have our graveyard set up plus an Albaz. He doesn't have a Imperm or a Veiler. And I do go Branded Fusion here. Since he already asked, we got definitely lucky on that. Now, I do think, like, we were still probably playing through it because of Brandon, Red plus Dupe, but those are neither here nor there. Now, I go into the Forbidden Droplet here on the Branded Fusion to make sure I don't really have to discard any cards, because I like the Branded Red and Duplication, so I can send the Branded Fusion. And also, I'm surprised I didn't send the Aluber for the Gulamel. Maybe I'm going to do that, I'm thinking here. No, I'm just going to do that, because Gulamel, I can play around it. I don't think Gulamel's that crazy here, to be honest. So I'm not going to send the Aluber, and I'm going to negate the Secretarion, go into Fallen of Albaz plus the Aluber into the grave, or the Albaz in the graveyard for the Albion the Branded Dragon, and now I can go Albion the Branded Dragon and banish the Albaz plus the Malulu into the Lubellion. We put this in attack position because if they Imperm or Veiler it can still attack because it's all a part of the effect, so it won't, you know, it can't attack if the fusion went off. So I discard the Branded in red here, which is fine. I'm going for, I mean, I want to keep the duplication so I can, like, lock him, basically, if I can't OTK. And then I go into the Mirror Jade, and then he's going to go into the Dracotail Horn. And I maybe should have played around this, but I am on one Mirror Jade, so I feel like me going into attack, it's fine because it recycles it and it forces him to use it there. Before he can chain the Gulamel, I'm going to chain the Mirror Jade so that he cannot respond with the Gulamel, and I'm going to send the Renbrum to the graveyard to then banish the Gulamel to get that out of rotation, and then Mirror Jade's going to get bounced to the extra deck. I accidentally sent it to the graveyard. And he's going to spin back the Gulamel immediately and draw into the Perulia, so that's pretty good resource management. So I do tribute over the Albion the Shrouded Dragon. So I do tribute over the Albion the Branded Dragon to go into the Bestial Lubellion, and now I'm going to go into Lubellion effect to activate the Branded Lost from my deck, and then just go Battle Phase and attack over the Secretarion, and then go Aluber attack directly to get some damage in, and then set the Fusion Duplication. I'm looking really good from here, though, because I have a full graveyard of fusions with Branded, you know, between the Albion, the Titanclad, and the Renbrum. That gives me a lot of options. And here I'm going to go into the Quem effect to get me into the Cartesia, since I don't have one yet. You always want to go, like, in order, Albaz into Cartesia. And here, you guys can kind of just see I'm outgassing this deck, because this deck just only has so many pushes. It really has, like, 3 pushes in the form of its traps, like a Phimina, and then also, like, obviously Ketu/Rahu, or just, like, the hand traps, depending on if you're going first, or if they're going first or second. So I do add back the Cartesia so I can get a discard, and then I set the Branded Retribution out of the deck since I have the Branded Red in the graveyard. But this is a really good, actually, set against Branded Dracotail, because this can negate the Rahu, or it could negate the Phimina. It's better to negate the Phimina with this, but also the Rahu, because the Rahu can just be reused if they have another one. But it is a very good way to stop their fusions, of course. So he does draw into Gamma, which is live right now, which is funny, but, and then he's going to be able to go into the Ketu Dracotail, which is obviously a Rhoda for any Dracotail monster, but also, if your opponent controls a monster, literally just any monster, you can fusion summon one dragon or spellcaster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. So it's just, like, such a broken effect, because you always add a card and then you can just dump your whole hand for Altharion and just, like, bounce the whole board. So I'm just gonna have to Retribution this. You always have to, like, Ash this or, like, interact with it if you have a negate for it, or else it just kind of gets a little dicey. So I do spin back the Titanclad and the Albion for the grind game, and then I go Fusion Duplication at this point, so he doesn't just have a opportunity to go Phimina and start board breaking, since he did give me the quick effect priority. Maybe if he knew I had, like, Fusion Duplication, you know, I think he should have, like, quick effect gone Phimina here before giving me the opportunity to go Chainlink 1 duplication under Branded Loss, so I have protection at some point. And so I'm going to banish the Branded Fusion, and then the Ido will come out through the Fallen of Albaz 2 to make a Lubellion, and now I can go Chainlink 1 Lubellion, discarding the Cartesia, and then Chainlink 2 Quem to target the Cartesia, and then Chainlink 3 Lost to get a Mercourier, and he could respond here, but if he does, then he won't be able to activate anything on the next chain, and he can only respond here because Fusion Duplication basically doesn't give you protection under Branded Lost with how it's worded effectively. So now we search out the Mercourier and then go out for the Cartesia off of the Quem, and then we spin back the Quem plus the Albaz, and then go into the Sanctifier, and on summon under Branded Loss protection, since it's chaining to the successful Fusion summon window under Branded Loss, I'm going to be able to protected target Ido, and then also the Secretarion Dragon, and then give him the Ido, and then I'm going to take a Secretarion Dragon, which is just one of the most dirty things I think I've ever done to a Dracotail player, because, you know, it's just double lock, essentially, right? Even if he outs the Ido, then he's gonna have the Secretarion Dragon, which already floodgates a lot of his deck, and this is something as a branded player that you also have access to have it as a very good endboard piece, especially if you're not running the lock. This is what you're gonna be going for in that matchup. So, and he just scoops here, and I'm going to be going second here. I'm gonna have a little bit harder of a time, though. I do have a pretty good hand, though, but he has Ash, Talents, Phimina, Malulu plus Flame. I have Branded Fusion, Lost, Saronir opening, and then Forbidden Droplet. And so he's going to go into Phimina, send the Malulu plus the Ash. So I know he has Ash. He goes Altharion plus Malulu effect, get back the Phimina, and then get back the Ash Blossom, and then go into the Rahu Dracotail, sending the Urgula to make the Gulamel, and then Phimina effect plus Ugala, Ooga Booga, and then he sets the Dracotail Horn plus the Ketu Dracotail, and now he goes into the Urgula effect to then put self to the bottom of the deck and return Phimina to the hand, and now he can go into Ketu, searching out the Lucius, and now he can go Lucius, search out the Pan, which is a pop, so he has a pretty loaded hand, and now he sets the Flame, so it's basically the same board as before. I draw Fulos for turn, so actually this is a pretty good hand, honestly, and so I go Fulos here. And then I go into the Branded Lost, and he chains the Dracotail Phimina, and this is going to be able to then chain to the Grimmel. I should have chained here. This was a misplay on my end, so he didn't have the opportunity to pop with the Grimmel. I should have chained, like, the opening here, so for some reason I didn't. So I'm going to lose the Lost, except I'm just going to use the Droplet, but he does use the Dracotail Flame, which is fine, so I can get rid of that. I don't know, I feel like I just played this really poorly for my hand, to be honest. And now he's going to be able to go into the Secretarion, and I get the Albion the Shroud Dragon off the Fulos. And now I'm going to chain the Bestial Saronir that was sent to the graveyard off of the Saronir. From the Droplet, and then I'm go for the Branded Retribution, which gets me back the Branded Lost, so I at least get back the Branded Lost here, and now I get Branded Lost, so I can basically be good from here. Then I go Shrouded Dragon effect, sending the Fallen of Albaz to the graveyard, and then I spin back and then get the Fallen of Albaz as a top deck, and now I can go Branded Lost and just go Fallen of Albaz here to out the Secretarion Dragon. Yeah, I'm actually not sure why he didn't chain that Horn there, to be honest. I think that was basically a huge misplay there, because I get the Mirror Jade from there, right? Like, but even then, I just am able to go with the Mirror Jade, but I don't have an out to the Ash Blossom, so that's the issue here for the most part. So I do have to just eat the Ash, and then I go Branded Fusion, and then he's going to Ash on the Branded Fusion. I get to special summon out the Cartesia, attack over with the Mirror Jade, and then he's going to Dracotail Horn, bounce back the Mirror Jade. I guess that's maybe why he saved the Horn, because he could just out it with the Horn. I don't know, because this is his only out for Mirror Jade, so maybe he was just like playing around that. You guys tell me. I think that was a misplay, though, by him, and he draws into Solemn Judgment plus the Pan, so this isn't the best situation for me. I do have the Titanclad here. I think I could have played this better, because maybe if I like fused off the Cartesia, since I knew he had the Horn, and gone to the Albion for like a red, I would be in like a way better position. But we go to the Quem here, sending out the Cartesia, and basically he's going to be on top deck now, but he does draw the Malulu. So I basically have to scoop from here because he's going to be able to set like way too much advantage. So I think I could have won that game if I just played that a bit better. So let's just learn from my mistakes, right? So we open up Branded Lost, called by Fallen of Albaz, Nadir Servant, and Rahu. Our opponent opens up the Lucius, King of the Swamp, Lucius, Lancia, and Driver. This is when I was on Nadir Servant. I don't really love Nadir Servant in this deck, but it is something to consider. So I'm going to be able to do some plays here because I do have the Lost plus the Rahu, so that's pretty good. But he does activate the Lancia in the draw phase, so that's interesting. So I guess playing around the talents. And then he I go into the Branded Lost, activating the Rahu Dracotail, and then sending the Phimina plus the Albaz here, which is just great. He gives me the thumbs up. I got Altharion, target the Phimina, and I can activate the Phimina plus the Branded Lost to get us into the Branded Fusion line through the Spriggan's Kit. And now I can go set the Dracotail Flame. I'm kind of curious why I did that. I mean, I guess, like, I could have searched Phimina. Well, I already used Phimina. I'm just, like, thinking, because I think I could have done this better. Because if I did Ketu search Urgula, then I could get back the Phimina, and then... But I already used Rahu, so I think, like, setting the Dracotail Flame makes a lot of sense here anyways. So you guys tell me. We get the Phimina back to hand. We get normal summon Kit after setting the Dracotail Flame. Get the Branded Fusion here. Now we go Branded Fusion. Even if he had an Ash, we have the Called By. And we go Lubellion plus Albaz for the... But which we can't obviously trigger because of the Lancia, but I don't really care. This gives me more advantage than it doesn't just getting the Lubellion on the board, so I can get the Albion in the graveyard. Maybe I could... I think here I should have just gone into Secretarion Dragon, if anything, maybe off of something, but I don't know. I'm like, I could have gone... like, I saved the Called By, and I didn't use on Lancia because I was playing around Ash Blossom. I'm like, I don't lose to Lancia, I lose to Ash Blossom kind of thing. So yeah, now I go Nadir Servant and send the Titan Clad, so now I just have a full graveyard, and then I search an Albaz, which is a great pairing with the Dracotail Phimina, and now I can just go into the end phase, and also now I put I put to the bottom the card finally for Kit, and then we go into the Quem, we go Quem effect, send the Cartesia, and then we go Cartesia effect to get back. And we can go Albion here to get the Branded in red, so we just have a full board of Dracotail Flame, which is a spell negate. Then we have Phimina in hand plus the Quem and the Branded in red, so we're looking pretty good with Branded Lost. He does draw the Called By though, so that's pretty good. And he does, I mean, he has the Lucius though, plus the King of the Swamp, so he has a couple pushes, but the Driver is definitely a bad card in this hand. And if he had Gamma, maybe it would be... I mean, I don't even think Gamma does anything here because I wouldn't have triggered it. So he does go normal summon Lucius effect to get the Phimina. And now he's going to, well, here I'm just like, quick effect Prio. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, Brandon in red because I'm just going to lock you before you can Phimina me. But then he does have the Called By, so that's totally fine. But I do have the Dracotail Flame, which is why I do love Dracotail Flame in this matchup. It stops your, like, anything... Well, I guess this is why I love Dracotail Flame in general, because it just outs Called By and other annoying cards against your deck. So yeah, now we can negate that and then get a draw. We draw the Called By, really funny. And then I add the Fallen of Albaz to hand, fuse off with the Kit plus the Fallen of Albaz into the Lubellion. Go Lubellion, discard the Cartesia, then I go Quem, target Cartesia. And now I'm going to be able to fuse back the Fallen of Albaz plus the Quem and go into the Sanctifier Dragon. And here I can just chain the Cartesia. He won't have anything here because he already has a monster on board. That's why you kind of have to wait for a monster in order to do this. But overall, like, he could chain the Phimina here. I'm surprised he doesn't, but, like, because if you get quick effect priority, you should just chain Phimina at this point, right? But, like, I mean, Altharion can't target Sanctifier, so I guess it wouldn't have really mattered. Plus I do have the Mercurier, so... Oh yeah, no, I was like telling him in chat basically like you should have chained Phimina there, but once again I have the Mercurier, so it wouldn't have mattered. And then also even if I did, it wouldn't have mattered because I also just have other things. So Now I can go to the Grand Guignol, send the Ido, go Sanctifier, target the Ido Albaz, and I basically just win from here, right? Because he goes Femina, then I just negate it. Yeah, no, that's what he would have summoned, would be the Secretarion Dragon. So yeah, GG's, that was a fun game. He definitely didn't play optimally, but like I feel like those were some good lines to show you guys off for like the matchup itself. I think Branded typically just outgasses Dracotail. And you have so many things like between the Secretarion Dragon plus the Sanctifier Ido lock, which you can play in draw phase to play around main phase Femina, or the Rahu is really important too. And then once again, you just have a bigger engine than them, like between the branded cards. So like you just outgas them most of the time when you can use your engine to just break their board. But you do have to play smart. And they can have things like Winda and Secretarion Dragon, so you really have to be careful of those. I think Droplet is S tier in this matchup. Also, Book of Moon or Book of Eclipse is very good in this matchup. Super Poly is obviously too, because you could just Super Poly into Secretarion Dragon, so those are cards you can consider for this type of matchup. So yeah, guys, what do you think of the Dracotail matchup with Branded Dracotail? Who do you think has the favor? I think a good Dracotail player still, when they go first, has a very good chance, especially if they run the Shadal stuff. I'm a lot more scared, honestly, because then they have Winda on top of Secretarion with an Altharion, which is kind of hard to like break if you don't have a Droplet. But you know, that's just like, it's not every build, and also that build's more bricky. They can draw a hand of like Beast plus like, you know, like 3 hand traps, right? Let me know down below. Comment what you guys thought about the gameplay. Subscribe today if you haven't already. Do you guys like these DB gameplays? Do you guys want to see more? I'm going to be doing a deck profile pretty soon on my Branded Dracotail list once I get all my cards, which is going to be very shortly. Going to be entering in some regionals soon, so wish me luck on those, and I wish you guys luck, of course, in this new season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Love you guys. See you guys later.